Hi, I'm Dr. John Demartini, and we are in Los Angeles, near Beverly Hills, and I'm having the opportunity to film for the movie Oh My God. What is God? I like to call God the grand organized design of the universe, or the grand organized designer, if you want to personify it. It's basically, as some scientists have described, the intelligence that permeates the universe, that governs all the natural laws, or it's a personal connection that we have from our heart into the universe, a personal relationship between this vast intelligence which governs the universe and which also governs our life. The more I've probed into the mysteries of nature and of human behavior and of the cosmology of the universe, the more I come to an appreciation and humble myself to an intelligence that somehow governs the order behind it. Even the things that we think are chaotic ultimately have a hidden order behind it. Scientists and great theologians and writers and researchers would never have probed and stayed long-term focusing on the answers to the mysteries of the universe if they had not felt somehow that there's an underlying rationale. They've never probed that far, never have kept their mission alive if they didn't believe somehow in a rational system. So I tend to believe that there is a hidden order in the things that we think are apparent chaos. There are different levels of awareness of God. We have an anthropomorphic awareness where we tend to project our image and imagine God to have a sensory function and a motor function like we do, so we can communicate and have a personal nature, personal relationship. And we tend to project onto God those things that support our values and instead of those things that challenge our values. And whenever things support our values, we feel connected. And whenever things challenge our values, we ask for guidance or we pray, and we have this connection. And that's in the anthropomorphic form. We make it in our image. Our God is in our own image. And then there's a natural laws of the universe, an intelligence that's inherent in nature that gives both support and challenge to human beings, which is transcendent to the limits that the human puts on it. And this is what I call true religiosity. It's something that we can humble ourselves to and not be limited by our own projections. And it is something that governs life, and not only the world around us, but the world within us. So we have one that we appease, you might say, and try to please and try to communicate with so we can feel satisfied when we're challenged and feeling oppressed by life or having anxiety. And then there's one that permeates the universe that's actually bathed and permeated by love that brings a nice balance. We as individuals grow most at the border of chaos and order, support and challenge, and the true divinity, the true order of the universe brings us both. Though we anthropomorphically are seeking that which supports our values, which sometimes keeps us juvenile and keeps us really from humbling ourselves before the permeative universe intelligence that's here.
So that gives an awful lot of room for confusion. Why do you think so many religions fight?
Well, I think that many of the religions are based on the anthropomorphic idea. They're creating it in their own image, according to their own values, and based on whoever has the most power. And as such, they limit it to a human need. And as a result of it, there are people, as Heraclitus said in 475 or so BC, he said that there's a dynamic equilibrium of complementary opposites in the world. There's a pair of opposites. And so for every person that has a need and a value system, there's somebody else that has an opposite one. And so they come into clash. And really, both of them are there to teach each other how to appreciate and love our disowned part, our other half. So many of the religions are basically based on human value systems that run into their opposition and disowned part to teach them how to love. It's wisdom to realize that our values lead us to a destination, and as our values change, we go to a different destination. The summation of all of our destinations is our life journey. There's no end to our life journey, but there is an end to our destinations. One is in space and time, our destination. One is through space and time, our life's journey. So our journey of spirituality, if you will, is really more than our intermediate phases that we have that are important to us, our immediate gratification and needs. Something beyond that. Our true spirituality is awakened when we humble ourselves to that which is beyond our immediate needs. Everybody is at a different level of awareness, and everybody has a different set of values. They're fingerprint specific. And so they access the next level of mystery in their understanding through this divine connection through religion. I like to think of religion as the religating of the ions, the misperceptions or the imbalances in life. And when we unite them and synthesize and synchronize the polarities in life, we have access to this divine mystery. Our mind is bipolar, and when we integrate it, we have this experience, the soul. And so I think that our religious experience is a necessary component to continually grow from one level of mystery to the next. And the divine nature is our calling and our yearning inside us to tackle the mysteries and conquer the questions of life and solve our own understanding of our own being. Well, I always say that there's different levels of prayer. The highest of prayer would be one of thank you, I love you, to the universe. Because you see the hidden order, there's nothing to fix, there's something to embrace. The lower levels of prayer, the more subtle levels of prayer, is when things aren't supporting your values, you're praying for that anthropomorphic deity to take care of that and fix the things that challenge you. The very things that challenge you actually make you grow, and you're trying to stay juvenile by praying for having somebody take care of it. But there's different levels of prayer based on different levels of awareness. The lowest prayer is asking God to fix things according to your needs, and the highest of prayer is thanking God for the way it is, the divine nature, the inherent order that's in the universe. And I always say the highest of prayers is thank you, I love you. I've been blessed to work with thousands of people that have been in torture and turmoil and terrible events and traumatic experiences. And what happens is inside the human psyche, when they face these torturous moments, their mind splits to survive and creates ecstatic. For every torture, there's an ecstasy. For every challenge, there's a support. And for everything that they feel frightened of and feel in a self anxious over, they create a superimposed state of mind that survives and allows them to make it through it. Many times that awakens a sort of religiosity inside them to survive. I had a gentleman who was in a situation when he was feeling, in a sense, highly insecure. And when he did, he would pull upon an angelic state and imagine these angels guiding him and protecting him from the things he was insecure from. And the second the insecurity disappeared, his angels disappeared. So many times our split nature of our mind creates these polarities that are confused as true divine experiences. They're actually, in a sense, as Freud would describe, psychotic states. But true religiosity is a state of grace. True religiosity is a state of love, a state where you are integrated. And it's not just in fear, it's out of an appreciation for the hidden order of the universe. Well, I say there's different levels of faith. If you're having an expectation of God to quickly respond to you and fix the things that challenge your values, which may be necessary for you to grow and mature, then if you're having faith that it's going to be taken care of, you may have to be patient, because the very nature of the universe may make it necessary for you to have both support and challenge to grow. So you may be hoping for a fantasy and a delusion, which may end up creating you might say a negativeness of yourself. But if you embrace the universe and are having faith that there's an order, though it's unseen, and it allows you to keep searching until you see the order, then this faith leads you to an understanding of how the real universe is working. I always say that the true faith is the one that embraces intermediately the state of grace and gratitude. And the false faith is the thing that's trying to protect us from the thing that we're frightened of. Ultimately, if we look carefully enough and we look through our fears, the very thing that we're frightened of has a blessing inside and something to be grateful for. The torture actually has the ecstasy already inside it. The yang has the yin inside it. When we look for both of them simultaneously, we come to a state of gratitude and love, which I call a true religious experience. I'm now convinced that we don't die. Our physical body may undergo a degeneration, a dust to dust, but it appears that our traits and our consciousness continues. The reason I say that is not because of some mystical notion. It's because working with thousands of people now, I've had the opportunity to work with people that have had deaths in their family. And what's really amazing is if we itemize exactly what they perceive is missing in their life the moment the person dies, and then ask what is the new form that emerges around them, they discover that the things that they think are now missing actually emerge around them in friends and sometimes even in animals. There's other animating forms that emerge the moment the person passes. If we then ask the person, as you see these new emerging forms, what was the drawback of the original form? And the reason I ask that is because if they're infatuated with the original form, they're going to have remorse, bereavement, grief, and sorrow, and feelings of loss because they've lost that which they're infatuated with. And they get in dopamine, endorphins in the brain when they're infatuated, and they have withdrawal symptoms from it, and they feel hurt and lost. But if we go in there and bring the drawbacks to the way it used to be, and the benefits to the new form that's there, and balance out our perceptions, then what happens is the person is allowed to see the new form that's there. They have a transition. They don't feel a loss. They don't feel a remorse. and all they feel is the presence of the person in the new form. I say that a master lives in a world of transformation, and the illusioned live in the illusions of gain and loss. So I've developed a methodology to help a person make a transition, to see the new form that it's in when somebody passes, to see their new form and realize that they're not gone, they're just transformed. Now this is challenging to some people, but I've been blessed to work with people that was in the tsunami when we had a woman that lost her son and husband and 2 friends in the tsunami. And we spent 3.5 hours and took them through this process and showed that there was nothing lost. And she was in a state of literally gratitude and for the transformation. We went on a radio show afterwards and she shared her experience. We had another man that had his son who was a Down syndrome child that had passed away. And we took him through this process, finding the new forms that was in, the drawbacks of the old form, the benefits of the new form, made the transition. And he also went on the radio show and showed that there was nothing but a transformation and he felt the presence and love. So I'm convinced now that there's no real loss, there's transformation. Just like there's energy is transformed, it's neither created nor destroyed, so the energy or the spirit or the life of the individual is simply transformed. And there's a way of demonstrating it now. We've heard about it theologically for centuries, but now we have a way of demonstrating it in real life. We can demonstrate a transformation and a transition between one form and another.